For he is good. No matter what our situations are, he is good. You all may be seated for a second. First, I want to tell that I'm going to give an apology to somebody who's very important to me. This person is very important to me, that sometimes when I'm hard-headed and stubborn, they always let a fight for me. This person knew who they are. But I'm just telling you, thank you, and I love you. And also, forgive me. Forgive me. Let's get started on our message. Well, let me get the credentials out of the way first. Giving honor to God, who is the head of my life, to His Son, Jesus Christ, to the Apostle and First Lady Nate Ashton, to Pastor Joe and First Lady Bertha, who are here. I thank you for my lovely wife and attendants. I thank you. To all my brothers and sisters in Christ that are here to hear the word, I thank you. We're going to start off with this, you all. We're going to go with this passage of scriptures. Could everyone please stand to this? We always talk about this scripture. We're going to say it together. Hebrews 11, 1 and 2. Let's say it with me. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. You all may be seated. Amen. But that's not the message, you all. That's part of it. My message is coming from Romans 4, 18 through 22. I'll read it. You ain't got to stay. It's going to be a lot of reading. So I'm saying. Who against hope believed in hope that he might become the father of many nations? Do you know what we're talking about? He's talking about Abraham. According to which was spoken, so shall thy seed be. And being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old, neither the deadness of Sarah's womb. He staggered not at the promise of God, but through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving glory to God. And being fully persuaded that he may had the promise, he was able to also perform. We're going to talk about that for a second. My message is, when in the fight, don't give up the fight. Well, we start off at 18. It says, who against hope believe in hope. Well, we all know the story of Abraham. We're going to go back there. We're going to start for a minute in Abraham. Well, he was promised by God to be the father of many nations. Yet he was an older, I would say older, mature gentleman. I ain't gonna say old man because a lot of older folks get mad. He was a mature man at 75. So let's go back to the story in Genesis. Genesis talks about, let me go back to that again. No matter what we're going through, God has given us all dreams. He's given us ideas. He's given us things that advances us and also His kingdom. Sometimes you're wondering, will it ever happen? Will it come to pass? You know, at the time, we all thinking like, this man is old. You know, at a certain age, after a while, we're like, forget producing kids. I ain't having no more kids. We all say that. You know, after 30, 40, 50 years, like, oh, yeah, okay, next. No more kids for me. But see, this man had a promise of God to go out and reproduce and have a son, a promised son. So he said he staggered not. So he didn't waver at what he did, but he was fully persuaded. So he believed God to the fullest. So when you end a fight, don't give up. No matter what the situation is, don't give in. Let's go back to Genesis for a second. Genesis 12 as we get started. You know, God is called Jesus. God was called Abraham was called by God at the age of 75 years old. Now, by that time, everybody's settled. Everybody's settled in their ways, and they ain't too old to be moving. But God called Abraham out and told him, get from his family, get from his family and friends, and go to a place where you know not of. Now here you go. How many people can say somebody will leave their house to go to a place they don't know nothing about? How many can I get in their hands to see anybody who will do that? Don't think so. But see, he believed God. Yes. So now, he's been called out by God to go out among the people, among the nation, among a country he does not know nothing about. So he's sojourning, or he's just walking around. Now, he takes his son Lot, his brother's son Lot. Now, sometimes I said this about Lot. There's nothing wrong with that. But if God calls you out, God said take nobody with you. Take who he said you're supposed to. I understand he takes his wife because she's him. But as far as others, he was supposed to leave his brother's son at home. He didn't. So I will tell you this. As a part of that, take the hood off God and let God work. Well, what I mean by that, get out the comfort zone and let God work. See, Lot was like a comfort zone to him because it was still part of his family. Even though his wife was there, Lot was still family. So he still had a piece of the family with him when God said, get away from family. But guess what? God was still blessing. Yes, sir. So as he was blessing them, it was he was blessing, but he wasn't fully blessed. I will tell you why. Look at this. When he told Abraham to leave, he said, like I said, get all your family, get rid of your family, get away from your family. Not get away from your family, and I will make you a great nation. But he took Lot. God still blessed him, but he wasn't totally blessed. What do you mean by that? Well, Abraham told a lie, flat out lie. He went to the Egyptians, you all, and Sarah was fine. I'm going to let y'all know Sarah was fine. She was fine. So he tells Sarah to lie and say, tell them that you're my sister. Just in case they want to try to kill me. If they say we're married, they're going to try to kill me and try to take you. Tell them you're my sister and we can get away with it. But oh God came through Pharaoh on a dream. No, matter of fact, not a dream. He came through with plagues. Now remember, it was the first time he sent plagues to Egypt. The second time was with Moses. Now, he sent the plagues, and the king was like, wait a minute, hold up, man. What are you doing? What are you doing with this, man? Well, how you going to tell me that's your sister, and they told me this your wife? What's going on? He said, man, get out of here. But guess what? He gave him stuff before he left. He gave him oxen, he gave him cattle. If you read in 13 and 12, he gave him oxen and cattle and told him to leave. No recompense or nothing else. Just get out. So now here you go. Now the story says Lot and Abraham's herds grew to the point where they got to fight with each other, like east side versus west side. So Lot was saying, Abraham told Lot to we got to separate, man. Our herds are too big. Lest we don't continue fighting. So he said, you go one way and I'll go the other. Well, put it like this. Before the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, if you read, God said that was a beautiful place before he destroyed it. Yes, it was a beautiful place. He said when Lot looked up and looked east, he saw a water plain, beautiful plain land, and that's where he went. That was Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, so now here you go. Now here you go. Here comes the blessing. When Lot left, God visited Abraham. And he told him, he said, look into the sky and count the stars. Can you number them? Here you go. Put yourself in that situation. Troy, look at the stars. Count the number of stars. That's how great your seed will be. Put yourself in that situation of Abraham and say your name and say, look at the stars. Count the stars and see how many can you count. That's how big your nation shall be. Thy seed shall be. So now we got a little problem now. We got a little problem. Here comes a problem. And chapter 14, there's a problem. What do you mean by that, Troy? Well, Lot's in trouble. How is he in trouble? Well, he went down there to Sodom and lived. And Sodom was paying taxes to a king. And Sodom started rebelling. So the king had his boys. So it's 5 kings against 2 nations. Now imagine anybody with the biggest gang in the world, you can imagine, put 4 of the gangs with that gang against 2 cities, like say Gary and Lake Station. That's how big the fight was, the nations was. It was 5 kings against Sodom and Gomorrah. So they went in there and took the city over and took Lot captive. Abraham got wind of it. Now you know you don't mess with family, right? Everybody mess with family, right? Now, what happens when family's in trouble? What? Okay, now, Abraham took 318 of his men, well-trained men from his house, went down to where the 5 kings were and beat all 5 kings. All 5. Now imagine, like I said, all the big gangs in the world against 318 men. Go figure. You think it'd be a slaughter, right? But God. So now he brings back Lot, and they want to, the king of Sodom wanted to give him an offering just because what he did. He didn't accept it. He did not take it. Because it was said, we gave it to you and made you seem like we delivered it to you for a reason. He's like, no, we don't want that. I don't want that. But he met Melchizedek. Yes. He met Melchizedek, the unknown priest who has no ending and no beginning. And he offered up tithing to Melchizedek. That's where tithing comes from. He offered up tithing to Melchizedek. Now, as we continue on, chapter 16. Let's look at this for a second. Don't put your hands in God's work. Don't put your hands in a cookie jar. What I mean by that? God don't need us to work his plan. He just wants us to be available for his plan. Now, Sarah. Now, brothers and sisters, I'm going to talk for a minute. Brothers, we sometimes listen to our wives and we're supposed to. But if God promises to do a plan, and she has another plan besides God's plan, you better trust God's plan. Amen. Sarah gave Abraham her handmaid, Hagar. Now, we already know that won't happen with real women. So here you go. We already know real women will not give another man, their husband, another woman. Right. Ladies, am I right? Am I right? Now, a real woman will give her husband another woman, and then have a baby on top of that? Yeah, I see a lot of heads shaking. No, I don't think so. Somebody's head's gonna roll or something. But to give him another child. Now here you go. Now we know how baby mamas, that's baby mama drama, happens. He conceived and had Ishmael. And he thought he was through. He said, I got my kid. I thought I'm through. But here you go, the whole time, Hagar is thumbing her nose at his wife. Telling her what she ain't gonna do. She can't have no kids. Look, I got your husband kid. You can't have no kid. And guess what? Sarah got mad and told him to put her out. So he gets put out. He puts his son out, not the promised son. The promised son is still coming. Not the promised son, a son he had. But guess what? He became a great. Let me talk about this rascal for a second. Ishmael And you know, Ishmael and Israel are cousins, brothers, right? Ishmael and Isaac is brothers, right? Here you go. Guess who the cousins are? Y'all know? Arabs and Jews. He talks about Ishmael being a wild man. And all nations shall basically want to put their hands on him. Guess what Arabs are doing? Well, what are they doing? Some are strapping bombs for themselves and going into buildings, blowing people up inside, no matter who's inside with them. How wild could that be? Can you imagine somebody being that wild just to strap themselves up and run inside a building and blow it up with them inside? No, I don't know about them, but you know, I had to mail that in, man. I ain't going out there like that. I had to mail that in. That's too much. I ain't gonna kill myself for what? Just to believe a false lie? Mm-hmm. So now he brings Ishmael back after God confronts, helps Hagar. They bring Ishmael back. So now, here comes the promise. How many have been promised with a lot of things and haven't seen it come to pass yet? How many of us have been promised with a lot of things and haven't seen come yet? I only see one hand. I know me. I know there's a lot of hands that God has promised us to be or to have, and it hasn't come yet. Hold on. The promised son came. Oh, I'm sorry. Another part about this. I'm sorry. Let me go back a second. Don't laugh at God's promise either. Here you go. The natural man receives not things of the spirit because it's foolishness unto him, right? Yeah. Here you go. Sarah laughed. Yes, she did. Sarah laughed. Why would she laugh? So I'm old. You think I'm gonna have a kid? God funny. You're always funny, true. And God turned around and told her and said, why you laugh? He knows. God's like, why you laugh? She's like, I didn't laugh. Yes, you did. You did laugh. You laughed. So now comes the son of promise, which is Jacob. Jacob is the son of promise because God's plan worked. God's plan worked because Abraham believed. If he just was if he just not have Ishmael and went on with God's plan, it would have been no problem. But it happened. So God still gonna have his plan come. No matter what we do, God's plan is gonna come through. No matter what we go through. Let's talk about hope for a second. Hope is a noun and a verb. The noun verb says a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. So now we're feeling this thing. The verb said wanting something to happen, anticipate. So now he's wanting something to happen and he's anticipating something to happen. Here you go. We want something to happen, we're anticipating something to happen. What do you mean by that? Well, God has promised us a lot of things. He's promised us houses and wells we didn't dig. But see, we anticipate those things to come to pass because God said it. The word speaks of itself. Here you go. Let's put it like this. God also requires the promise back. What do you mean by that? You just gave it to me. God requires the promises back. What do you mean by that? When Abraham had Isaac, God told him to go to the mountains and sacrifice Isaac. But here you go. Here you go. But he just gave you the promise. Yes. Probably the promise ain't about 17, between 15 and 17 years old. He's a promise. How many would give the promise back if God said, I want it back? How many ready to give the promise back if God said, give it back? Do we trust God enough to give the promise back after he gave it to us? don't see a lot of yeses, I don't see a lot of no's, I see a lot of straight faces. Poker faces going on right now. But God requires the promise back. See, in order to get more, He gave the promise back, but God didn't take the promise. He wanted to see if we're able enough to trust God the more, so when He's able to give us more, He can trust us the more.
Yes.
Well, how many of us know that God has always wanted us to trust Him the more? I got a few amens. I know this church is supposed to be a house of, this is a house of faith. So I know it's got to be a whole lot more amens. Well, because of their faith in God, we're gonna go back to the hall of faith for a second. There was a lot of people that wasn't missing in the hall of faith, you all. There was a lot of people. Let's get a couple of them, If we was in court, if we was in trial, we was on court today, and Jesus was on trial today like He was back in the day, would He have any witnesses to testify to Him? Church, would He have any witnesses to testify for Him? Not too many amens. Well, here you go. If God Christ was in court, and we started all over again, He would have witnesses in this time. Well, let's go back to a few witnesses from the old time. The first witness is the centurion. Well, who are you? I'm a centurion. What happened? I heard about this man named Jesus. And what did he do? I told him my servant is sick. Can he heal him? Well, what did he do? He told him, I told him to speak the word. He said, I told him I know authority. I know when I tell him to come, he comes. When I tell him to go, he goes.
Yes.
So I know authority, but I told him to speak the word. And what did he do? He spoke the word, and at the same hour, my servant was healed. Yes. Well, let's go to some more. Let's go to a man named Jairus. Jesus was walking by, and the man Jairus heard about him. What do you hear about him? Well, I heard a man about Jesus. My daughter was on her death's door. Yeah. And I came into Jesus asking, can you come to my house? And Jesus said, well, in so many words, I'll be. So as he was getting there, a crowd of people came around. A crowd of people was around. There was a woman with the issue of blood. 12 years, she'd been trying to pay her way to get healed, but it didn't happen. But she heard about Jesus. And when she heard about Jesus, she said within herself that if I can just touch the hem of His garment, I can be made whole. Yeah. She said within herself, if I can touch the hem of His garment, I can be made whole. Yeah. When she touched the garment, she was made whole. But she was so afraid, she said, daughter, thy faith has made thee whole. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go back over to Jairus. Now, Jairus' daughter is now dead because now the servant comes to Jairus and said, bid the master not more. She's gone. She's dead. He turned to Jairus and said, only you believe. Have faith and only you believe. He goes into the house of Jairus' house, and the minstrels outside. The people outside singing glory all the way because she's passed on. Jesus walks in and said, she's asleep. They laughed him to scorn. Why did they laugh the master to scorn? Because they don't know about faith. If they knew something about faith, they'd understand that the master is here. Yeah. And when the master is here, that all things are subject. Yeah. So he goes into the room and takes 3 people with him, Peter, James, and John, the inner circle. Yeah. I would say they were witnesses to say how great Jesus was, how God is. He takes the damsel up and presented her to Jairus. But I know people around us outside was like, wow, who is this man? Is he not the carpenter's son? Is he supposed to be he's calling himself the Son of God? Who is this man who said he's equal to God? Well, let's go to a couple of more people. I just want to go to 2 more. The other one was Paul in the storm. Paul was in the storm for 3 days and 3 nights. You recognize. You know how strong the storm is. It was tearing the boat apart.
Yeah.
Brother preacher preached on New Year's Day, stay in the ship. So he said, but sirs, I believe God. It was said unto me that I must preach in Rome. But see, that's the problem. See, sometimes we have to realize that we have to talk to ourselves. We have to put it down within ourselves to say, no matter what happens, I'm going to serve God.
Yes.
So now he goes into the storm and says, I believe God, but abide in the ship. Well, he said, abide in the ship. He said, abide in me. And when he abided in me, he said, I'll be in you and you be in me. We're abiding within each other. And if you want another scripture, he said, he that abides in the secret place of the Most High shall abide in the shadows of the Almighty. Yeah. So now let's go here with Paul. Paul makes it out through the storm. Now here goes the part where Paul is on the beach. They're on the beach and a serpent bites Paul. A deadly serpent. Now all the men around him are looking. They're like, wow, this man just got bitten. He's about to die. He's surely about to die. What Paul does is he takes the snake and throws it away and continue on like ain't nothing happened. These brothers are like, this must be God. But no, it's Jesus. Jesus Christ. Say it with me, Jesus. But see, here you go. Let's get one more story. Let's get one. Who are you? My name is Elder Jermaine Jackson Sr. What God did for you? I was lost in a lost place. Well, what did he do for you? He looked down upon me and he raised me up. Well, what did he do for you? He put my feet on solid ground. I was in sinking sand at first, but God pulled me. He raised me up and placed me on solid ground. Well, what did he do? He said, go and preach the gospel of Jesus. Go and preach the gospel of me. Well, to tell the people the good news that Jesus Christ has come. For those who don't know and understand, God is real. God is true. And he is faithful to perform his word. So don't ever lose hope. Don't ever give up the fight. Once you give up the fight, you lost hope. But don't give up the fight because God is in control. When God is in control, all things become subject. All things must bow down to his will. For those who don't know, let me introduce to you. His name is Jesus. He stands before the door. If I was to say I'm a house, he stands at the door and he's knocking. He said, and if you were to let me in, I will come in and sit with you. Well, what do you want? I just want a relationship with you. I want a fellowship with my creation. That's what I wanted from the beginning of time, is a fellowship. But see, when man fell, he said, but I had the Lamb. I had the Lamb slain before the foundation of the world. His name is Jesus. Say it with me, Jesus. Now, after the Lamb was slain before, he had to come down 32 generations. But see, guess what? He taught me how to be with power and authority. See, you can't have no power and authority if you don't have Jesus. You can talk all you want, but you got to have the power and authority of God. Now, when you have the power and authority of God, all things subject unto you. But see, let's look at this again. See, God selects who he wants because many are chosen, many are called, few are chosen. Do you accept the call of Jesus Christ? Do you accept the call of preaching the gospel? Do you accept the call of going out and grabbing your brothers and sisters who are out in the world, who needs help, who needs deliverance, who needs Jesus? They don't need me, they need Jesus. I'm just a vessel used by God to go get the people. Well, put it like this. If I'm going out grabbing people know that they see the light. Who is the light? Jesus. He's inside of me. And if they see the light in me, then they see Jesus. He said, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. What do you need to be? What do you need, Jesus? I just need a willing vessel. A true vessel. A vessel I can get a hold of and use. Well, see, here you go. The devil used us, right?
Come on now.
Did not the devil use us in the world?
Yes, he did.
Did he not? He had us partying, he had us drinking, he had us cussing, he had us doing everything under the sun.
Yes.
See, the scripture talks about the houses, two of them. The two houses. And he said the first one was swept clean.
Yeah.
He said, and then the devil, here we go. If anybody old enough remember this movie, the Amityville Horrors. The horror was about a house that was possessed. Oh, here you go. I'm sorry. Gary. Gary, not too long ago. I heard the house was torn down, but not too long ago, they said the child was up on the walls of the house, crawling. So now, the devil uses who he will, just as God uses us who are willing to come. So now the house is empty. They said the demon went out in dry places. He just went away. Then he said, I must go back into my house to which I come. But Jesus said he came back with 7 more, worse than he was. And he said he found the house empty. How was the house empty? How was the house empty, Chief? Well, the house didn't have no foundation. The Word. It didn't have the Word inside to combat the enemy. Who is the Word? Study the Word. Look at the Word. The Word is true and the Word is faithful. On his thigh, he said, virtuous and true on his thigh is his returning. So he didn't have no Word, but the demon came back with 7 more worse than he was, and he went back in. People of God, I'll tell you what's inside of your house. Do you have lasciviousness inside your house? Do you have envy and strife in your house? Or come on back, or do you have love? Do you have peace? Do you have long suffering in your house? Well, I'll tell you what today, people of God, get the ladder of the house. Get in your house. Get it in your house. Get in your home. Get it in your house. Get into the Word of God and let God use you. Get into the Word and let God use you. Get into the Word and let God use you. Stand to your feet. I remember that song, "Know It Can Be Days Like This." I promise I forgot how the rest of it went. It'll come to me, I'm not worried about it. You know, God is looking for a willing vessel. Are you that willing vessel to be used of God? Every day God searches to and fro to see who can show himself strong in. There you go. The opposite. The devil looks to and fro to see who he can destroy. Remember, he came into the place where God and the sons of God were there. He was there also. And his testimony was, I came to seek and destroy. So as God is looking for a willing vessel so he can use to show himself strong in. You know, are we that vessel that he wants to use? Do we show the acts of kindness? Do we show the Christ-like mentality? Remember, we're only ambassadors here for a season. We're only here for a short time. Do we show the love of God when we're here? Outside of these walls, do we show the love of God? Do we show his love? Do we show his compassion? Do we show Christ-like features? Brother preaching that first message, I didn't know about the fight. But when you called me that night, and the Spirit of the Lord just told me just to talk about it, when you came, what you said. Even though you don't see it yet, trust God. If he gave it to you, watch his plan, bro. Don't add into it. Don't take it away. Just trust God's plan. And those things that you ask for shall come to pass. Alright? I'm through right now. You all maybe see that. Maybe someone who might know Jesus might want to have a relationship with God. Maybe somebody who might need prayer. So like the pastor say, when we open the doors of church, the doors of church are open for those who want to join.
Yeah.
So I know everybody's saved right